Welcome back to FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. I'm Flex, and today we're diving into a full top-down analysis on Bitcoin, and we're also going to take a look at XRP, gold, and Cardano ADA. We're going to start off with the higher time frames as usual, work our way down, and let's see if we find any good setups. Now remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades. Always do your own research and trade at your own risk. Okay, let's hop into the charts. And before we do the top-down analysis, yesterday for fun I left you guys with a couple of patterns here. On the 15-minute we were like up to this candle here, and this kind of looked like an inverted head and shoulders, and the measured move for that would have been approximately 96,000. That did not play out. Everything started to roll over, so we're gonna take off this pattern here. Okay, and now the next thing was on the 1 hour chart. I had a flag going on here. Again, the beautiful flags that played out 2 in a row. I thought that maybe a third one in a row would have played out, but that was just an estimate. We have to adjust, so we could still, this one didn't play out yet, but we could definitely adjust this. And we're pretty much just going sideways, which is still pretty strong. This is better than us dropping down. So sometimes the moves are just going to take a little bit longer. So if we want, we could just flag this out a little bit longer, or we could do a flag on a higher time frame. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw this flag again on a higher time frame, just because it's already Thursday. Usually Thursday after 4:30, 5 p.m. things start to slow down. Sometimes Friday and the weekends things slow down. So this move might take actually a little longer to play out. We're gonna take a look and redraw that flag a little bit later. So let's start off now with the weekly, and the weekly is the same. We're bouncing off of the 21-day moving average. We're a little bit higher than that. We're still maintaining 93,500, which is amazing. We dropped down a little bit yesterday and even today into the 92,000, but we're holding. We're very strong still. You can see the weekly stochastics are still on the way up. Let's go head over to the 4-day chart. The 4-day chart, the stochastics are heading up. We're not toppy yet. We're above the 21-day moving average, so everything's pretty much the same as yesterday. Same price, everything's still going sideways here. On the 1-day chart, we're above the 21-day and above the 200-day moving average. I was telling you guys that we are far away from the 21-day moving average, which is currently at 84,579. That's this white line here. So we might continue going sideways until this white line could catch up to price. Hopefully we don't have to fall down to price and the 21-day moving average actually goes up. It looks like we're going to start flagging out here, which is still bullish, but remember the daily is a little bit toppy. Hopefully it could continue dragging out, and you never know, we still might get a move pretty soon here. Sometimes things take a little longer to play out. Like the 93,000 call that I made, I was calling that from last week, and it took a whole 8 days for that to play out. So it might be the same thing here. Now let's take a look at the 22-hour chart, and we're getting toppy now, but this could continue to go. Again, we're starting to flag out, going sideways. We're consolidating, so this is pretty bullish still. The 12-hour chart, this looks like a beautiful flag forming. We're above the 200-day moving average, but again, the 21-day is pretty far away. So on all these time frames, you'll notice the pattern that the 21-day moving average is far away from price. So all we have to do is continue just waiting until this catches up. This is why everything's going sideways at the moment. We take a look at the 8-hour chart. We're starting to head down, but the 21-day moving average did cross the 200-day moving average, which is bullish. And as you can see, as this goes up and we continue going sideways, we're probably going to end up touching here. We move on to the 4-hour chart. The 21-day moving average is close. We have low stochastics, so this is pretty bullish here now that the 21-day moving average filled out. So it's probably better to do the flag here on the 4-hour chart instead of the 1-hour chart, because the 1-hour chart is going to get filled up pretty faster since it runs faster. So we're going to do a flag here now, and let's see if we could continue filling out this flag before the breakout, and let's see what the measured move for this would be. So what we're really doing is just replacing that 1-hour chart flag, and we're replacing it for the 4-hour. Anyway, the 1-hour is going sideways, so the move still hasn't been able to play out, but we're gonna put on the 4-hour, and if this plays out now, it is measured at 98,000. So as you guys know, my new prediction is going towards 99,000, 100,000. So let's see how this flag is gonna play out. We're gonna leave that one there for the future, and let's take a look at the 1-hour chart now. See, look, now the 1-hour, we still have it basically in a flag. It's just that I did it on the 4-hour chart just for we could have have it a little bit more spread out there. So here, could this be an inverted head and shoulders? It didn't play on the 15-minute yesterday. Maybe it'll play out here, but my guess is we're probably going to continue dragging around here, and this 200-day moving average is probably going to continue coming up. Right now it's currently at 87,610. So as long as we don't fall below 87,000, let me see on the 4-hour chart, as long as we don't fall below 84,000, we're technically still bullish. So my guess is we're probably going to be holding support around 87 to 89,000 if we do drop down. And let's just take a look at the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart looks like it's going to roll over here. So my prediction is still the same for Bitcoin. I'm predicting 98,000, 100,000 coming pretty soon. Obviously, we'll have some rejections from here to there. Maybe it'll take a week or two to play out. We'll see. But right now, we're going to be watching the 4-hour time frame. We're going to wait until this flag fills out. And as long as we stay above the 21-day moving average, and especially above the 200-day moving average, we're still technically bullish. All right, guys. So let's move on to XRP. And on XRP, the last thing that we did here is I had an inverted head and shoulders, which still hasn't played out, the ugly inverted head and shoulders, but the measured move for this, I have it at 270, and overall I drew a falling wedge, which I believe could break out on the daily to $3.35 eventually. So we will see what's going to happen there. We're above the 200-day moving average, above the 21-day moving average. On the 4-hour chart, we're also above the 21-day, which is $2.17, and $2.13 for the 200-day moving average. So again, it's just a waiting game right now. I don't expect XRP or any other coin to pump up unless there's a specific news for that coin, unless Bitcoin pops up. When Bitcoin pops up, everything's going to start popping up. So we're still watching this. The prediction that I had I believe it was last week, that we would reach $2.14 happened, and we actually made it to about $2.30. So I had drawn here a flag, and as you can see, this flag did play out perfectly. We didn't do the whole move all the way up to, I think it was like 240, 250, but we got most of the flags. So that one's working out. Right now we're going sideways. So the only thing I could tell you about XRP is let's continue waiting to see if this inverted head and shoulder plays out as Bitcoin continues to go sideways. And when Bitcoin pops, I think that this will also pop. Now let's take a look at Cardano. We haven't taken a look at Cardano yet in this channel, but Cardano has been moving. We were back up to like 74 cents. I've seen it go down as low as 59 cents, I think, at one point. So we take a look here at the weekly. I currently have Cardano in a falling wedge, and this is the predicted move. The predicted move for Cardano is $1.60. It had broken out here. We made it all the way to like $1.17. That's when Trump said that Cardano is going to be part of the stockpile for the US, and pretty much in one day that thing shot up like 30%. But after that, we fell back into the pattern, and we're waiting breakout. Right now we're below the 200-day moving average. We're below the 21-day moving average. So until we don't break above and stay above 71 cents, which is where the 200-day moving average, Cardano could still fall down a little bit. So it's important that we break that. If we take a look at the 1-day chart, we're getting toppy. Again, we're below the 200-day moving average here, but we're above the 21-day moving average. So it's getting bullish. This is starting to look like an inverted head and shoulders that could play out. Just for fun, let's see what the measured move would be of that. Do it to about the neckline here, and that takes you to the 200-day moving average, which is basically at 75 cents. So again, we still need more strength. We need Bitcoin to continue going up, so then all these altcoins could also pump. Take a look at the 4-hour chart, and the 4-hour chart, we're just holding position. So everything's really being determined on Bitcoin right now. Something that I do see that's bullish is that the 21-day moving average is above the 200-day moving average. We touched it, and now it looks like we might start flagging out here. So this is another pattern that we could try to anticipate, and let's see if this starts to flag out, what the measured move of this could be. So if this were to break out, we'll probably end up somewhere around 85 cents, which is pretty good. So we're going to leave that flag there so we could check it out in a couple of days, possibly next week, and see if this continued to go sideways and then if it eventually breaks out. One more thing I want to check on, guys, before we leave is gold. Now on gold, I was telling you guys we made a massive move on gold. We went all the way up to, I believe, 3,489, basically 3,500, but we're away from the 21-day moving average. average, which is currently at 2,885. Like I always tell you guys, we can't be too far away from that white line because price has to be very close. As you can see, all the way from over here, look, close to the white line, close to the white line. Here we went up, and then what happens? We touch. Here we go up, we got to come back down and touch. Here we go all the way up. Eventually, we got to touch this line. Either we're going to go sideways, this is why I drew this flag, and wait for this 21-day moving average to touch price, or we're going to start falling down and touch that price. I told you guys it was possible that we could make another higher move and then maybe stay above this pattern, but actually the first prediction was right, that we're actually falling back into the pattern. On the 1 day, we're a little bit closer to the 21-day moving average, which is 3,175. So we're getting back into the pattern, and hopefully we're just going to continue going sideways and then eventually break out from here. So as long as we stay above 3,175, we're still going to be bullish, and I could see another breakout happening, but we already went up so much in gold that we're going to have to go sideways for a little bit before we go for another big move. All right, that's the breakdown. If this gave you clarity or a setup to watch, do me a favor, like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And if you have a stock or a crypto you want me to go over, drop it in the comment section. This is FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. Catch you on the next chart.